Hello, I'm Inash Levinsky and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them and tell you all you need to know. In a recent appearance, the head honcho of Russia's cringe diplomacy, Sergei Lavrov, said that if Western countries want to resolve the Ukrainian war on the battlefield, then Moscow is ready for it. Adding that, and I quote, "It's their right. If they want to be on the battlefield, they will be on the battlefield." End of quote. Early in his career, Lavrov, more inadvertent comedian than diplomat, was affiliated with the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. He's been serving in his current post since the 9th of March 2009, so at least no Liz Truss versus lettuce style memes for this guy, I guess. Most of his remarks really don't need any commentary. Citing is enough to recognize just how ludicrous they are. Most recently, he said that the efforts of the NATO member states clearly suggest that they are pushing for further escalation of the Ukrainian crisis, potentially towards open military confrontation between NATO and Russia, aimed at strategic defeat of Moscow. Now, wouldn't that be nice, eh? Lavrov's remarks about the alleged threat of NATO armies to the Russian Federation are just the latest shot in Moscow's sweeping campaign to keep the Russian public scared and hostile towards the West. Just a couple of days before, a post appeared on the Russian Foreign Ministry's website, which suggested that the North Atlantic Alliance countries are gearing up for war with Russia. Now, let's listen to a veritable master of striking fear into people's hearts. And no, we're not talking about Stephen King here. Russia has its own roster of horror masters, as embarrassing as the rest of the decrepit regime itself, and it seems they don't want to be buried in the pet cemetery because they just keep on going instead. Let's take a look.
И мы должны понимать, игры кончились. А если мы имеем дело с слугами князя тьмы, если мы имеем дело с сатанинским началом, о каких переговорах и с кем мы говорим? Какие могут быть переговоры с сатаной? Они все время лгали. Это и есть основа западной сатанинской цивилизации – ложь. И мы хотим с ними о чем-то договориться, они снова обманут. Они всегда лгут. Посмотрите на мерзкие морды украинской власти. Сатанисты. Посмотрите на искаженные ненавистью, лишенные интеллекта морды британской, немецкой власти. Посмотрите на мелкого беса Макрона. Они же лжецы. Они лгут во всем. Ни одному их слову верить нельзя. Никакие переговоры с ними невозможны. Необходима победа на фронте. Я еще раз повторю. Необходимо активно работать среди верующих в Западной Европе и в Соединенных Штатах Америки, объясняя им, что Россия не враг, что Россия во многом за них ведет ту священную войну, которая в полный рост придет и на их территорию. Никто их не оставит в покое. Никто не даст им спокойно верить. Их будут низводить. Мы последние защитники христианства. И заметьте, как плечом к плечу с нами стоят наши братья-мусульмане. Очнитесь, люди. Очнитесь. Они нас называют орки. Они говорят, что мы Мордор, империя зла. Они лгут. Ибо их отец князь тьмы. Ложь их предназначение.
Soloviev has once spoken to Alex Jones, and now it seems like this is where he's taking his inspiration from. There are demons everywhere. If he doesn't know how to talk to Satan, by the way, maybe he should have a conversation with an average Norwegian black metal band. Anyway, our old acquaintance, renowned for his cringe social media posts, Dmitry Medvedev, once the former president, now just a guy who provides us with a nearly non-stop stream of content to use here at Break the Fake, has now written that Russia's recent nuclear weapon drills were designed to train troops in reacting to threats outside of Ukraine. In some circumstances, Medvedev wrote in a social media post, Moscow's responses will be aimed not only at Kiev and will involve not only conventional weapons, but other types of arms as well. Which, for the time being, must refer to weapons-grade cringe, judging by Medvedev's output. Reading it is like being hit by a blast wave of nonsense. Now, let's talk a little about Ukrainians hunting for Russians wherever the latter tend to be. On the 13th of May, Russian armor warehouses were hit, leading to multiple secondary detonations of the stored ordnance. Local media published a video from the place of arrival of the said missiles. Let's take a look at this.
А то, Владик, мы, блядь, покатались на полике. Ёбаный рот. Ёб твою, блядь. Мама, мне страшно. Пизда Айкос назвоняла, парень.
Premature detonation. So embarrassing. According to preliminary reports, the strike was carried out using ATACMS missiles. Local social media activity suggests that 4 blasts were heard at 11 a.m. Propagandists were quick to point out that the explosions likely took place at the UNIST factory, sitting on the highway to Lugansk. Since the beginning of the Russian invasion back in 2014, remember that, the Russian Federation has been using the factory grounds as a military base and logistics hub. Well, it doesn't seem to work quite as well as before now, does it? Now, since the 24th of February 2022, we've seen a lot of Russian war crimes committed in Ukraine. And it's not likely that someone has put a stop to them. Just recently, during their push on Vovchansk, Russian soldiers captured a handful of the locals and then herded them into a basement. Some of them managed to escape last Monday and reach their friendly units. So let's take a look now at their account of what happened in Russian captivity.
Ми сиділи з ними в підвалі, вони могли нас розстріляти. А як виходили, теж вони знали її і пропустили. А так би теж просили.
Ранитих ноги обматувати бинтами.
Оце зараз?
Так, да, це вони її
Ми там в
знали.
підвалі 3 дня сиділи з ними.
Вони вас взяли в полон чи як це?
Ну так, виходить так.
А це коли 3 дні? Це відколи ви з ними сиділи у підвалі?
З 11 числа.
З 11-го. Вони вас збили, якось катували чи?
Не
Ні,
били.
нас вони не били нічого.
І це ми втекли до того, що ми сьогодні отійшли трошки, а ми вирвалися.
А як вам вдалося?
Ну, знав її, заградити
Мене
треба.
просто вояка російський
Що перематували
узнав,
їм.
що я їм ноги перематували. Не знаю, може пожаліли, не знаю.
А це ви коли їм ноги перематували?
Як
Це
в
ж
підвалі
в
сиділи.
підвалі з ними сиділи.
З підвала не випускали. А це сьогодні утром зайшов солдат і каже, уходимо так, як і прийшли. І забрали поранених, і ми це бігом і тікаємо.
Там ще люди осталися.
Там ще люди ще є.
А, тобто вони не тільки вас взяли?
Ні,
Ні,
там багато ще
там сім'я ще.
сім'я.
І ще там баба Нінка, де волонтери живуть. Баба
Я
Зойка.
не знаю, чи не живими остануться, не знаю.
Вони вам не погрожували смертю?
Ну, чули балачки, що треба розстріляти. А там чи на нас казали, чи ще за кого.
Ми ж перепугані.
So according to the escapees, during their stay in the basement, they heard their captors discussing shooting civilians. They were also coerced into providing the Russians with medical assistance. Ukrainian prosecutors have already opened an investigation into potential instances of unlawful civilian capture. And if that's what the Russians are doing while invading, just imagine what they are doing to people in lands they are already occupying. Now, if there are people struggling to pass their driver's tests in the audience, we might have a solution for you. Now, this doesn't involve additional learning or practicing your driving. No, all you need to do is go to Afghanistan. And there, in order to pass the test, you need to close your eyes and then identify the gas, the clutch and brake pedals. And also point out where the gear shift stick is located. That's it. Now, let's be honest, it's quite a feat not to pass an exam like that. But if some people do still fail, well, we fear for the folks who have to drive alongside them. Remember how the resurgent Taliban fighters were shown riding dodgems at an amusement park to boost their international image? The effort has failed, of course, because nobody believed the idea of fun-loving fundamentalist zealots just having a good time. But in terms of road safety, the idea of vehicles bumping into one another constantly seems to have stuck. And with this, we end this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.